About the ancient agricultural civilizations that observed the stars and then used those observations to calculate the season. But today I want to stay toward early seafarers about how the fixed patterns of stars use Viking has very impressive navigation skills. But the seafaring people of the Pacific Islands, the Polynesians and the Micronesians, were quite possibly the world's greatest navigators. Long before the development of advanced navigation tools in Europe, Pacific Islanders were traveling from New Zealand to Hawaii and back again, using nothing but the stars as their navigational instrument. And the key to Pacific Islanders' success was probably their location near the equator. What that meant was that the sky could be partitioned, divided up by much more symmetrically than it could further away from the equator, unlike the Viking area observed over the stars of Polynesian or really anywhere along the equator would feel that they were at the very center of things, with the skies to the north, the skies to the south became identical. They could see stars going straight up and in the east straight down in the west, so it was easier to discern the order in the sky than for the north or for the south, where everything would seem more chaotic. Take the case of the Gilbert Islands. They are part of Polynesian and lie very close to the equator, and the people there were able to divide the sky into symmetrical boxes according to the main direction north, east, south, and west. They could precisely describe the location of a star by indicating its position in one of those imaginary boxes, and they realized that you had to know the stars in order to navigate. In fact, there was only one word from both in the grammar. When you wanted the star express, you asked for a navigator. Islanders from all over the Pacific learned to use the stars for navigation, and they passed this knowledge down from generation to generation. Some of them utilized a stone structure called a stone canoe, and the canoe were on land, of course, and you can still see them on some islands today. They were positioned as if they were heading in the direction of the points on the sea horizon. During the night, and the young early navigators sat by the stone at night, and turned in different directions to memorize the constellation they saw. They could recognize them and navigate by them later on when they went up the sea. But an important way the Polynesians said oriented themselves was by using genus stars. A genus star was a really bright star that would pass directly overhead a particular latitude at a particular distance from the equator. Pacific Islands, so the Polynesian could estimate their latitude just by looking straight up, by observing whether a certain genus star passed directly overhead at night. They know if they have seen a particular island they were trying to get to. Now, another technique used by Polynesians was to look for a star pair, that's two stars that rise at the same time or set at the same time. A navigator could use these pairs of stars as reference points because their rise was set together only at a specific latitude, so navigator might see one star pair sitting together and would know how far north or south of the equator they were. And if they kept on one, the next time they saw the pairs of stars sitting separately, then they would know that they were at a different degree of latitude. So looking at setting a star pair are a good technique. And actually it makes more sense with settings so they can be watched instead of trying to guess when they rise. Okay, I think all this shows that navigating doesn't really require fancy navigational instruments. The people of Pacific Islands had such expert knowledge of astronomy as well as navigation that they were able to navigate over vast stretches of open ocean. It's even possible that the Polynesian navigator had already sailed to America centuries before Columbus. うん